This story is different from your regular Morim manhwa. It is new with unique concept. If you enjoy the story, don't forget to break the like notification and subscribe button. Don't forget to comment your thought about the recap. The story begins inside a spaceship in outer space in front of a planet. The captain of the ship asked her crew member Sunja if they are at the right location, since it seems like they are in the wrong place. Sunya told her that the location is correct, since the planet in front of them is planet number, which is their exact destination, and the planet is called Earth. The other crew member, whose name is Robert, deemed the situation to be strange because he is sure that they're at the right place. But the planet is a place drenched of radiation, with not even a trace of oxygen. The captain couldn't believe that there's supposedly a high-value criminal, and a high-ranking member of the Black Blood Gang, is hiding in such place that is deprived of oxygen. She was quite pissed since Robert dares give her false intel, but Robert was like, no, it's true, for real, because the intel came out when Hao Moon raided the main system of the Beggars sect. The captain then asked Sunja what he thinks about the intel. Sunja replied while doing his repairs. He told her that if Hao Moon really came to Earth, then it would be to commit suicide. Because the oxygen saturation of Earth is at 23.76%, and radiation contamination level is at 87 sieverts, which makes it a perfect place for dying. The captain then asked him if it is possible for a human to live there. Sunya replied, with a top-notch radiation shield installed, and a high-capacity internal energy drive that spans multiple cycles, maybe they can last for about 6 hours. The captain then seriously asked Robert if he's willing to put his life on the line for the intel he got. Robert couldn't reply, since he can't just risk his life like that. But the captain wasn't interested in his response either. She then told him that if the criminal they are looking for is not there, then he would be in big trouble. Sunja then mentioned that there was a human life sighted below the surface of Earth, and so they went for the criminal hunt. Robert and the captain arrived on Earth at the location where life was detected, while Sunja was in charge of protecting the ship and giving them intel. It's quite surprising that Earth has now turned into a wasteland with no life in it, and the place they stood is popularly known as Mount Tai. The captain was surprised to see that the popularly known Mount Tai is right in front of her. Sunya told her that it's the origin of the Mount Tai star system, the very place where those old farts from the Martial Alliance call a legendary sanctuary. She couldn't believe that the trash dump in front of her eyes was once a legendary sanctuary. She was like, those old geezers from the Martial Alliance, why don't they do some cleaning at their so-called sacred ground? What do they make money for? Robert told her that they would never do anything that doesn't make money since they are all talk and no action. Sunya then told her through the earpiece that the place she is standing is the spot where the life was detected. The captain was surprised since there was nothing there, so she asked him if he's sure. Sunja replied yes, right below you. The captain then knelt down. She placed her hand on the ground. Robert asked her what is she planning to do. She replied, whatever is down there must sure be alive, but if it was she that was buried down there, she'd have suffocated long ago. She then activated her internal energy drive and boom, there was an explosion from below the ground. Robert, who was covered in dust, told her to give him heads up next time so that he can get out of the way. The hole was very deep. She then asked Sunja if there is still a sign of life. Sunja replied, it's faint, but still alive. There is also pretty large space down below. Robert then told the captain to bring the electronic ladder, but she dived in without paying attention to him. Robert was like, ha, you're always so hot-tempered. He then told her that they should go together. They arrived underground, and in front of them was a very big door with a sentence written on it by someone named Lee Mokjin. Robert had no idea what it says. The captain then told Sunya to translate it. Sunya told them that it's an ancient language used around 2,000 years ago. The word written on it state thus: the world fears me and imprisoned me with the great Dharma teachings. If you clumsily try to awaken me, death will greet you first. What the word meant is don't open the door if you don't want to die. Robert excitedly told the captain that the bastard criminal is hiding here because only someone like him would have the time for threats. But the captain told him that the threat wasn't from the criminal since it is written in an ancient language no one understands. Robert tried telling her that it might be possible, but she wasn't interested in the conversation, although she deemed it as a good sign because if the person that wrote the words on the door is threatening them not to open it, then there must be something valuable inside. She then pushed the door open. They were surprised when they got in, because they saw something sitting at the top of the stairs, although it looks human, but they had no idea what it was. The The captain was quite curious at what it was. So she climbed up the stairs to go see what it was. The face of the person sitting down was covered all over in beards with his legs crossed. Robert asked her if it's alive or is it human. Although he didn't believe that it would still be alive since it has been buried for 2,000 years, the captain didn't reply. She then stretched out her finger and touched the nose of the person. There was no reaction for a moment, which made her more curious. But to her surprise, there was a sudden electric spark. She couldn't believe her eyes, but as soon as she felt the bloodlust that came out of the person, she immediately activated her magic power to counterattack. But it was useless. Rather, there was sudden outburst of magic power that shot out through the hole, all the way out of Earth into the space, and it almost destroyed their ship in the process. Sunya had no idea what is happening, so he asked the captain what is going on, and what the hell happened just now, but he didn't get a response. He called them multiple times through the earpiece, but there was still no response. The room was covered in dust, and within the dust, the captain coughed out blood, since she got an internal injury from that sudden explosion. She couldn't believe her eyes since she had no idea what just happened. In front of her was Robert laying down on the ground unconscious. The unknown person then appeared in front of her. He said to her, "Who are you? Who dares to awaken me?" But the captain couldn't reply since she was still in shock. The unknown person wondered if she had come to challenge him. If that's the case, has a martial artist capable of challenging him finally been born? He then told her to speak, and she should tell him the reason why she awakened him, but the captain had no idea what he was saying since she can't understand a word. She then activated real-time translation mode. The person raised his hand with the aim to kill her if she doesn't answer his question. Upon realizing that the man wanted to kill her, she immediately activated her powers in order to block the monster's attack. The collision from their attack was intense. She did everything within her power to block the attack from the person, although she was able to block it. But she was breathing heavily, and she had no strength left to receive another attack. She also got a warning from the system on her waist that her drive has overload, and 1.2 cycles out of 1.14 has been used. So, she was told to please recharge her energy. She couldn't believe her eyes, since the person was still the same, even after she expended all of her energy. The person then said, "The skill you used is the Quantum Golden Summit Divine Art, and the Red Mist Divine Palm. Although they are the martial arts of the EMA sect, but yours seems to have many impurities which suggest that you have learned it through theft. In other words, you are just a thief scraping by with grave robbing." The person was really furious, so he levitated upward since a mere thief dares to interrupt his eternal sleep. The captain was frozen in fear since she was unable to do anything against such terrifying being, but to her surprise, the person fell down. She had no idea what just happened. At the same time, Robert stood up. He told her that the person must have died since it was exposed to such radiation without a shielding field. It's only natural for the person to die. So it's surprising that it held out for a long time, but Sunja told them through the earpiece that the person is still alive. The breathing is normal and so is the pulse. The captain was surprised, so she was curious as to why the person collapsed. Sunja then said, "It seems like it collapsed from energy depletion. The body is fine, but the battery inside its stomach is drained. That is to say, it fainted from hunger since it was starving." Some hours later in their ship, Robert was in disbelief since the captain brought the monster on board instead of leaving it behind. He told her that she shouldn't have done that. She should have also seen his berserk earlier since it's worse than a cockroach exposed to radiation. At least a radioactive cockroach would be worth a few bucks, but the crazy monster isn't worth anything. So he asked her why the hell would she bring it along. The captain replied, "It's worth money and lots of it." But they had no idea what she was talking about. She said to them, "What is the most valuable cultural heritage today?" Sunja replied, "Ancient martial arts. The closer to the original, the more expensive it is." She told him that he is right, and judging by the circumstances. The person is likely an ancient martial artist from 2,000 years ago. And 2,000 years ago was a legendary period when martial arts were highly developed. Even the lowest class F-grade techniques from that era fetch at least 10,000 credits, but the person is not on the level of an F-grade, but an unimaginable grandmaster, at least S rank or higher. Robert was quite surprised because if the person is truly an S rank, then they'd be hitting the jackpot. But the question is, what if he wakes up? The captain boastfully told him not to worry, since what she used to bind him is a celestial silkworm thread used for spaceship repairs. Even the head of the Shaolin sect couldn't cut it. But to her surprise, the person was able to cut it easily. He furiously said to her while exuding a terrifying killing intent, "How dare you? Lowly grave-robbing thieves try to desecrate me. I will tear you to shreds." The captain and Robert immediately went on a defensive position, but to their surprise, Sunja appeared before the person with a tray filled with sausages. They couldn't believe their eyes, but surprisingly enough, the person's anger calmed down and it was munching the sausage aggressively. They all stood behind while watching him eat. The captain then asked Sunja how he was able to come up with such an idea. Sunja replied, "He's been starving for a long time, so the best thing for a hungry beast is sausage." Some hours later, the captain explained everything to the person. They told the person that they weren't grave robbers but bounty hunters who accidentally woke him up. And now this is the world 2,000 years after his time. Humans, after harming each other to no end, destroyed the world and decided to live in the skies, although things have stabilized since then, and they decided not to allow any weapons, including nuclear weapons. Only allowing martial arts. The person was surprised since he had no idea what a nuclear weapon is. He then asked her what this current era is called. She replied, "This era is the year 1105 of the galactic calendar." The man was like, "Galactic? Does that mean you all live in the sky?" The captain replied, "Yes." She told the person that he is quite lucky since he woke up after 2,000 years and he should be immensely grateful. The person lashed out. He told her to talk respectfully since he isn't someone that she should be talking to anyhow. He asked her furiously if she wishes to die since a third-rate grave robbers like them dared to deceive him. But they all pointed out their fingers at the same time, showing him what it looks like outside the ship. The person looked outside and he couldn't believe his eyes. The captain then told the person that the place over there is where he lived, but now it's totally ruined. She then patted the person on his head while saying, "Now that you have seen it, do you believe us?" But the person replied while exuding his killing intent, "Even if I want to believe, I can't, since there is no way he can believe that the land he is standing on is round." The captain was quite disappointed at how astonishingly ignorant he is. Suddenly, Robert could smell something disgusting, and it was coming from the person's body. The captain closed her nose. She told him that he would learn the rest later, but first he should go take a shower, maybe trim his hair in the process, since they would be staying together for a while. The person had no idea what she meant by shower, so she told him that he should take his bath, and so hours passed. They all stood in front of the door, waiting for the person to come out of the shower. Robert told the captain that she should have just let him leave his hair like that since he is scared that something mummified might come out from inside. But to their surprise, the person was no other than a handsome guy with packs and molded muscles. He came out while cleaning his hair. He then asked them if there is more of what he ate earlier. But they were unable to reply for a moment since they were still in disbelief. The captain was like, "Who are you?" Some hours later, they rowed their ship through the Milky Way. The guy who is our protagonist was mesmerized by the view in front of him since it doesn't seem like the sky at all. Although he once lamented about the world's narrowness, but he never expected it to be vast and strange. The captain then pinched his cheek. She said to him, "How old are you? Just so you know, hibernation age don't count." Some minutes later, a cluster of stars in the Milky Way, called Pleiades, inside a Styried Space Tavern, a place called Wild Crane Inn, our protagonist was aggressively eating the sausages. Robert couldn't believe that a human is capable of eating so much. Sunja told him that he did starve for 2,000 years. Robert was like, "So he has to eat 2,000 years worth of food?" Sunja replied, "Judging by his eating." That might be the case, and so our protagonist finished eating his sausages. At the same time, at another scene, the captain went to meet the Wild Crane Inn's keeper, popularly known as Wang the 18th. She told him that she is looking for a broker. They must be rich and tough, because what she is about to sell is extremely expensive and valuable. Wang smoked his pipe. He asked her how expensive must it be for her to be so frantic. She replied, "How much would a full collection of 2,000-year-old martial arts manuscript be worth, if they were all originals, and all S-rank?" Wang was surprised by what she just said, and so, some minutes later when she left the room, there was silence for a moment. One of Wang's guard then asked him if what she said is real, if that's the case. S-rank originals from 2,000 years ago must be incredibly valuable. But Wang told her that it's worth 0 credits, because if such things existed, one book alone could buy a planet, and more. And yet a mere mid-tier bounty hunter like her claims to have found a bunch of them. He deemed what she said to be nonsense, so he told his guard to just kick them out. The captain arrived at her crew's table. She then asked Robert where Sunja went to. Robert replied. She went to buy supplies. Sorry guys, I have been calling Sunja a male instead of a female. I just noticed while doing my proofreading. Robert said to the captain, was the talk successful? The captain replied excitedly, it went well. He said he would contact us immediately when he finds a buyer. She looked at our protagonist. She was surprised to see that he ate all that food all by himself. Robert told her that luckily he just stopped. At that moment, the captain doesn't even know how to express herself, because if it weren't for the money, she would have abandoned him. Suddenly, the door opened. Some people in purple and black came in looking all majestic and mysterious. The captain was surprised to see them, since they are people from the heavenly demon sect. The big guy looked around with something like a scanner on one of his eye, looking for someone. The captain and Robert was observing sneakily, since the big guy is the leader of the Red Wolf Squad. His name is Sanzhen Wuyu. Robert was surprised seeing the Red Wolf Squad, since they are the inspectors of the demon sect, but he had no idea why they're here. The captain told him that they specialize in tracking, so they must be pursuing someone. She then told him not to make eye contact since it would be annoying. Our protagonist asked her if the demon sect she is talking about is possibly the heavenly demon sect. She replied nonchalantly, asking him how he knew the heavenly demon sect when he have been asleep for 2,000 years, or does the heavenly demon sect existed back then, but he didn't reply. Our protagonist was quite surprised that people aren't fleeing, because if they were truly demon sect members, people should be fleeing in panic, but the captain told him that there is no reason for them to flee. Although the heavenly demon sect has its quirks, but they still pride themselves as the foremost orthodox sect in the entire universe, and they really are the best. Our protagonist was in disbelief since the heavenly demon sect is now an orthodox sect. He was quite happy since his dream that always felt so distant and empty has finally come true. Wuyu was looking around the inn in search of someone. Some people looked at them confidently while others were hiding their faces. Wuyu then approached the man that was hiding his face. He told him to look up. The man looked up as instructed. His details then popped up in front of Wuyu's scanner. The man is a male, with an internal energy of 52.7 Celsius. He possesses a 5-star black bird martial art, and he is wanted on charges of robbery and assault, making him a level 2 criminal. Wuyu told the man that today is his lucky day since he's not their target, but he should go to the Martial Alliance and turn himself in, since he is still a criminal. Otherwise, he will face the consequences. But something unexpected happened that he himself couldn't believe it. Our protagonist was patting his head. He was happy since the seemingly impossible dream of his has become a reality by the younger generations. His action made everyone to be surprised. Everyone in the inn couldn't believe that such a thing is happening in front of their eyes. Our protagonist deemed the younger generation feat to be admirable. He hugged the guy's head while saying, "How much suffering must these young ones have endured to achieve such a stature?" Wuyu was holding in his anger. He then asked the people in the inn, "Does this child have an intelligence issues?" Robert stepped forward. He stuttered. He told Wuyu that he doesn't have intelligence issues. It is just that his social skills are a bit lacking, Wuyu then said to our protagonist. "Child, you should know it's your lucky day today as well, because if I had sensed even a bit of martial art energy from your body, you would have already be shattered into pieces." He then tried taking away our protagonist's hand from his head, but it didn't budge. Wuyu had no idea what was happening since our protagonist isn't moving at all, no matter how hard he tried forcing him away. Even Robert and the captain had no idea what was going on. Wuyu realized that he was unable to use just raw strength to bring him off his body, so he activated his energy. His internal energy drive system activated his Blood Wolf demon art at the maximum level. He then told our protagonist furiously, while exuding a terrifying amount of magic energy in air, to stop messing around. Everyone was surprised at what was going on. Even his underlings were like, ugh. Our protagonist swiftly returned to where the captain and Robert is standing, completely unaffected by Wuyu's outburst of power. Even Wuyu couldn't believe his eyes. The captain was like, "It seems Wuyu isn't in good shape." Wuyu then asked our protagonist for his identity. He couldn't believe that he is still alive since he clearly intended to kill instantly with his outburst of power. But to his surprise, when he tried pulling out our protagonist's details, he realized that everything about him was unconfirmed: his gender, internal energy, and loaded martial arts. It is like his database wasn't registered in the system. He couldn't believe that a pure natural being with zero internal energy is still alive after receiving an attack from him. Our protagonist said to him, "It seems like you just used the Blood Wolf demon art. It's one of the lower-level martial arts among the heavenly demon body cultivation arts. But still, it's commendable that it's been passed down until now, however. It's a pity that your internal energy and chi are not in harmony, since it seems like the training method is flawed. But meeting me today is the opportunity of a lifetime for you. So let me personally correct it for you." He then stepped forward. But unlike other manhwa, where the guy would immediately go down on their knees to bootlick our protagonist immediately, as they realize his deduction was correct, Wii called him a lunatic. He then activated his energy with the aim to kill, but as he tried using his Red Wolf Demon Claw first form to attack, our protagonist dodged it without taking a step. He launched multiple slashes, but it was still futile since he was unable to touch not even our protagonist's clothes. He switched his technique to Red Wolf Explosion, but the result was still the same, seeing that it didn't work. He switched to Red Wolf Tremor Wave and Red Wolf Ghost Claw, but he was still unable to land a hit since our protagonist was faster than he can imagine. Our protagonist began observing Wiyu's strength and weaknesses while dodging his attacks. He noticed that he had enough internal energy with precise form, however something is wrong, and as soon as Wiyu tried to strike again, our protagonist grabbed his head and slammed it into the ground. He told him to stop with his nonsense since his skills are crude. Everyone in the inn were in disbelief, and no one could believe their eyes. Our protagonist then told Wiyu that although he have learnt the skill properly, but he learned it without understanding it. He then told him that true martial arts are not just about imitating, but it is about adapting and making them your own. He then told him to get up if he understands, but there was no response. Like, how the hell do you expect him to get up when you use such force to slam his head into the ground? His underlings were also in disbelief, but they all rushed out to take him down since he dared lay a hand on their platoon leader. But what happened next was quite brutal. Some unknown hours later in the Heavenly Demons Sect District 32, the brutal scene that happened in the inn was replayed. It was really shocking. Even the commander of Heavenly Demons Sect District 32 couldn't believe his eyes. Wiyu was knocked out cold, together with his underlings. The Heavenly Demons Sect District 32 commander, whose name is Jong Ritak, deemed the occurrence to be unbelievable when he saw what happened through the inn's camera. The man who came to make the report told him that fortunately, Wiyu and his squad only suffered severe bruising. Their lives are not in danger. But Ritak didn't deem it as a fortunate event because they miserably lost the fight against a mere unknown stranger. The man who came to report is Senior Elder of District 32, whose name is Jo Chunrock. Ritak said to Chunrock, "Is it true that he's not registered in the Martial Alliance database?" Chunrock replied, "Yes, however, his companion were registered. They are a group of bounty hunters known as S-Devil. They mainly clean up B-class or lower petty criminals. The team is led by a person named Seryung. She is nicknamed the Blazing Devil, and she's a well-known bounty hunter, straddling both orthodox and unorthodox worlds. Although after the incident, they left Wild Crane Inn, but they can still be tracked." Chunrock then asked the commander if they should send a pursuit team, but the commander replied no, he would handle it personally. The commander stepped forward, he pressed the green button in front of him, a screen displayed, someone then appeared in front of it. The person said to the commander, "It's been a while, is there perhaps a request you have for our Greenwood group?" Some unknown time later, the captain and her crew was driving their ship through the Milky Way. Our protagonist was holding a knife and a fork while waiting for his meal. At the same time, the captain and Robert stood in front of him while observing him. Robert said to the captain, "Be honest, you are just as scared as I am right now," but the captain had no idea what he is talking about. Robert told her that it is surprising at how strong our protagonist is, since he was able to slap down Wiyu and the Red Wolf platoon with one blow, despite them being an A-rank martial artists. The captain boastfully said that she could also win if she fought them seriously, although they might be a rank, but they are at the lowest level of it. Robert added, saying that he might be able to scratch them a little bit if he puts his life on the line, but our protagonist swatted them aside like flies. The captain then walked towards our protagonist. She slammed her hand on the table, and she told him that they need to talk, but our protagonist seriously looked at her. He told her that he would talk only if there is food. But she sat down, crossed her legs, and she insisted that they should talk first before food. She then said to him, "You! What's your name?" But Robert told her that he'd suggest she use honorifics first, but the captain didn't listen. She then said to our protagonist, "Are you deaf? What's your name?" But there was no response. Sunya then arrived with a tray full of sausages. Our protagonist looked at it. But the captain told him not to even think about eating the food until they are done talking. She then asked him for his name again, but there still wasn't no response. Robert then told her that she should at least let him eat comfortably first, since it said not to bother even a dog when it's eating, but the captain didn't care. After a moment of silence, our protagonist told her that his name is Lee Mokjin. From now on, as a means of reference, we would be calling our protagonist Mokjin. And as for the captain, we would be calling her Seryung, since that is her name. Seryung then asked Mokjin about his identity, or what his past profession is, but there was no response for a moment. Mokjin then replied, "My past profession is the Supreme Heavenly Demon." Seryung was like, "Did you just say Supreme? What the hell is this guy spouting? Did we feed him bad hot dogs or something?" But suddenly, the ship emergency alarm started ringing. Seryung and Robert was surprised since they have no idea what is going on. Sunya, who was in charge of the ship's security, told them that someone is targeting them at a close range. Seryung hurriedly rushed to see what is going on. She said, "I knew it! It must be the Heavenly Demon sect. They must have come for revenge since Mokjin beat up the Red Wolf platoon." But Sunja told her that the people attacking them is not the Heavenly Demon sect. Rather, it's the Greenwood. Their ships were surrounded by multiple fleets. At the same time, within one of the ships, standing in front of the main ship, is the leader of the Galaxy Division of the 72 Strongholds of Greenwoods, with a known nickname. Black Tiger of the Crescent Moon, Kim Sungbom. A man report to him that the S-Devil ship has been confirmed and the bounty targets has been surrounded. He then asked Sungbom if they should fire the EMP capture round. Sungbom didn't reply. He then asked him if the ship they surrounded is really owned by bounty hunters. The man replied, "Yes." According to their investigation, they mainly operate on the outskirts of the galaxy, and their leader is someone called Blazing Devil, Seryung. Sungbom was wondering why would the Heavenly Demon sect bother with such a small group. The reason why they surrounded Seryung's ship was because they received a bounty request from the Heavenly Demon sect, and the request wasn't to capture, but to erase Seryung and her crew members from existence. He deemed the request to be odd, and he was sure there is definitely something going on. He was sure that Chunrock must have a reason for specifically entrusting the task to them, despite the fact that the Heavenly Demon sect is more adept at taking lives than they are, so he was sure that there must be a trap in the S-Devil ship. Although they are surrounded by crowds of ship, but Seryung didn't show any signs of fear. She thought they have come to rob them since they are bandits, but Robert told her that he doubt they are here to rob, since they are dragging such a large fleet around, so their aim won't be to rob them since they are extremely poor and there won't be any profit for them. Seryung understood what he is trying to say. She then said confidently, "Anyway, it doesn't matter. They can just beat the Greenwood scumbag robbers if they get in their way and toss them out." But Sunya told them that defeating them won't be that simple since they are part of the Galaxy Division of the 72 Strongholds of Greenwood, and it appears that the entire division has been mobilized. Seryung was like, "Are you kidding me? Did they really mobilize the whole Galaxy Division? Then does that mean the division leader, the Black Tiger, Kim Sungbom, is here as well?" She then said without a single fear in her eyes that even her can't beat Sungbom easily. Robert said to her, "Of course it's not easy. You'd be dead within 3 moves if you stood against him." She grumpily told Robert that it's not that bad since she can still put up a fight if she put her mind to it. Robert knew that she was just trying to act strong, so he told her that they should just surrender quickly since they have nothing to lose. Seryung thought for a moment. She then told them all to follow her command from now on. She told them that she would permit the enemy to fire the EMP capture round to cut off their ship's energy and incapacitate them. Then she'd also permit them to board their ship armed. They'll let them search the ship and also donate anything unnecessary for survival if the enemy wants it. Robert was like, "The fuck you saying? How is what you said different from surrendering?" Amidst the chaos, Mokjin was amazed at the beautiful view in front of the ship. Seryung then approached him. She patted his shoulder continuously. She told him that the ship will shake a bit when the EMP hits, so he should not panic, since there would be no destructive power shot at them because of the space laws that forbade using of destructive power to fight. She then left him since he doesn't seem to understand what she is saying. On her way, she told him not to interfere because the enemies would leave once they take what they want. But if fight breaks out and things escalate, she won't be able to guarantee their survival. She nonchalantly asks Sunya if their ship has already been locked on. If that's the case, they should brace for impact. But Sunya shockingly told her that what they are firing at them wasn't an EMP. Rather, it was a ship-destroying photon cannon, which indicates that they are planning to kill them. At the same time, on the Greenwood ship, the man told Sungbom that them using the photon cannon violates space regulations and it might cause trouble later, so he suggested that they should quietly capture and dispose of them. But Sungbom told him, no, he have a bad feeling about the mission, so it's better to just blow them to dust since they can shift all the responsibility to the client, the Heavenly Demon sect, and so he told him to fire when ready. At the same time on S-Devil ship, Seryung panically asked Sunya if they can warp out and escape. Sunya replied no, since they are surrounded on all sides. She asked again if they can block the attack with the shields. But Sunya told her that it's not working since they sold some ship parts for living expenses. Seryung was like, damn it, we are fucked. At the same time the photon cannon energy was fully charged. Sungbom then gave the order to fire it and so, boom. The energy was shot directly at their ship. At that moment they were all hopeless, and they have accepted death. There was an intense explosion from impact, but to Sungbom's surprise the ship came out unarmed since it was blocked by another big ship, and the ship belongs to the girl with a spear on her hand. The girl is known as Elena, but she is popularly known by her nickname, the 8-foot fighting ghost. Seryung, Robert, and Mokjin were surprised to see Elena. Even Sungbom had no idea why she is here. The ship driver told Sungbom that the shield she used to block their attack is a terraformation grade shield. Although it's a powerful shield, but they can penetrate it if they max out the photon cannon output, so he asked Sungbom if they should recharge. But Sungbom told him that them starting a space war just to deal with a cockroach is not a wise decision, because Elena isn't a person that they can handle easily. So he told the driver to activate the teleportation for him to go meet her. Sungbom then wondered why such a monster like Elena came. At the same time, Robert was surprised to see the popularly known 8-foot fighting ghost Elena, an S-rank bounty hunter who is also unpredictable that even the leader of most sects avoid her. So he asked Seryung if she knew why she is here, but Seryung didn't know either. What's more puzzling is that she saved them if she hadn't blocked a photon cannon. All of them in the S-Devil ship would have been atomized by now. Sungbom teleported out of his ship to come and see his sister Elena. He said to her, long time no see, Sister Elena. But Elena didn't reply. He was like, surely I hope you haven't forgotten me. He then told her that he is her 55th younger brother Kim Sungbom, and he greeted her at their mother's birthday 2 years ago. Elena wasn't interested in his gibberish, so she told him to get lost. Sungbom was surprised by her words. He then decided to formally introduce himself. However, this time, not as her brother Kim Sungbom, but as the leader of the Galaxy Division of the 72 Strongholds of Greenwood. He told her that telling him to get lost is the same as telling all of Greenwood to get lost. So he cannot accept that, but Elena didn't say anything. Rather, she went straight to releasing her aura, ready for battle. Robert was watching them from the ship, since it seems like they are about to fight. But Seryung told him that it won't be an easy battle, because even for Greenwood, Elena isn't easily touched. She added saying that dealing with Elena alone is tough, and if Greenwood is unfortunate, her mother Lioness would also jump out from behind. But Robert had no idea what she meant by Mother Lioness. Sungbom told her that she is the same as ever, always resorting to fists to have a conversation, but he immediately surrendered. He told her to relax since he don't want to fight. Sungbom knows too well that if they were to fight it would only lead to a loss, and losing for such a crappy job like taking down the S-Devil ship aren't worth it. He then told her that they should resolve it peacefully. He asked her if the S-Devil ship is her target. If that's the case, they will yield it to her. Elena didn't say so much word. She turned around and she told him to get lost. Sungbom said to himself that he expected something is wrong with the S-Devil ship, but he wondered why, and for what purpose would she come for such useless things like the S-Devil ship. Elena approached the S-Devil ship, and she said to them through a speaker, "Hand it over or everyone dies." But Seryung was like, what the hell is she talking about? Even Robert thought she also want to rob them. If that's the case, he was like, what the hell did we even have for them to be so eager to attack us? He then asked Seryung if she stashed something valuable without telling them. But he himself knows that wasn't the case because they don't have anything valuable on them, and there is nothing on the ship that could attract an S-rank bounty hunter like Elena. Seryung then asked Mokjin if perhaps he knows Elena. Maybe he had a fling in the past, or dated and had a big breakup before running away, But Mokjin told Seryung that Elena didn't come because of him. Maybe it's probably because of that child. They all turned around, but they didn't see anyone. Mokjin then said, "Show yourself, child. There is nothing to fear." Suddenly, a girl appeared from within the shadow, removing her concealment. Robert and Seryung couldn't believe their eyes. To make things worse, they have no idea who she is. Mokjin told them that she followed them from the inn, but he left her be since she had a presence but no form. He was quite impressed at the advanced technique she used since she was able to conceal not just herself but her breathing. He was like, "It seems martial arts have developed in over the years." But Sunya told him that what she used is not a stealth technique, rather she is wearing a stealth ring. It's a quantum technology, and it's really expensive, but Seryung doesn't care if it's expensive or not. So she asked the girl who the heck is she, and what's her intentions for sneaking onto the ship. The girl stuttered. She told Seryung that her name is Younghua Rin, but Seryung wasn't interested in her name. She then asked her if she's the target of the people outside. She replied, "Probably. And as long as she is alive, they won't stop coming after her." Upon hearing her name, Robert immediately recognized her, since she is the main vocalist of Pronosian. Seryung was like, "What do you mean by Pronosian?" He then explained excitedly. He told her that she is the galaxy's top rookie idol duo, and she is the main vocalist of the idol group that sang a hit song. He then brought out his phone from his pocket. He searched up her name and her profile pop-up. He was like, "Wow, I was right, she's even prettier in person, and she's even from Mount Hua, the same place as him." He also knows every details about her, including her height, blood types, and allergies. Elena then announced through the speaker again that she's giving them 10 minutes to hand her over, or everyone dies, although despite the tension they were in, there was no panic in their eyes. Robert asked Hua Rin for the reason why they are chasing her, but she didn't reply. Seryung told Robert that it doesn't matter if she tells them or not. She told Hua Rin that she is an uninvited guest that isn't related to them, so she need to leave. Robert tried persuading Seryung, but she told him that she have made her decision as the captain. Hua Rin was then placed at the door of the ship for her to be delivered outside to Elena. Seryung and Robert watched her through the small hole as she's leaving. Robert then told Seryung that he don't think sending her out is the right thing to do. She's even the main vocalist of Pronosian. But Seryung told him that they can't protect her, even if she is in the ship, since they are already struggling against Greenwood, let alone 8-foot fighting ghost Elena. So even if they hold their ground, Hua Rin's fate won't still change, but their fate will, because they'll all die if they were to fight Elena. She then pressed the button to close the door. Seryung is also in pain since she is unable to protect the little girl, but there is nothing she can do. Suddenly, someone placed their hand on her shoulder. That person was no other than Mokjin. Hua Rin was super surprised to see him. Mokjin said to her, "Didn't I tell you earlier not to worry since I will protect you?" At the same time, Robert and Seryung had no idea how he got in there. Seryung panically pressed the button multiple times to stop the ship's door from opening, but it was already too late. Robert then told her that they should wait and see what happens, since Mokjin is also strong, and he might end up defeating Elena. But she said to Robert, "Are you insane? I am not worried about him going out to fight. Rather, I am worried about him going out to space without protection." She then immediately told Sunja to close the gate quickly, but Sunja told her that it's already too late, and so the ship's door opened. She was like, "This nutcase is really insane. He actually went out in space." Hua Rin thanked Mokjin for seeing her out. She then told him to be careful since Elena and Sungbom are really strong martial artists. But to her surprise, something strange started happening to Mokjin. His eyes became red, and it was as if he wanted to throw up. At first she had no idea why he was like that, but she later realized that maybe he isn't with a shield. Mokjin began coughing and breathing heavily. Even Elena and Sungbom had no idea what is going on. Mokjin's face suddenly swell, as if there is a huge pressure crushing him. After a few seconds of struggling, his face becomes somehow frozen and he went unconscious. Seryung immediately arrived on site. She put something on his face and she activated Nano Shield. She worriedly told him to wake up, and he should breathe if he is alive. But to her surprise, Mokjin woke up as if nothing happened. He asked her what the hell is she doing, but she didn't reply. She quickly pulled back her hands since her pride wouldn't want him to know that she was worried about him. She then asked him if he is crazy for coming outside without a shield. The temperature outside is minus 300 degrees, and the pressure would burst his internal organs within 10 seconds. He looked at her and he told her that she worries for no reason since he is a supreme being of heaven and earth. so nothing in this world can threaten his life. At the same time, Robert, who was watching how Seryung was carrying Mokjin to meet Elena, was thankful that she wasn't too late to provide Mokjin with a shield, but Sunja told him that she was very late. Even the greatest master can't withstand space without a shield for less than a minute, but Mokjin endured it for 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Moreover, all his organs are normal. That shows that he have far surpassed human limits. They arrived at the place where Elena and Sungbom was. Seryung could feel how powerful Elena's aura was, which proves that she is truly a fighting maniac. Even Sungbom was exuding a very domineering aura. She then told Mokjin not to cause any trouble, and he should not intervene, since she would handle it herself. And so she immediately began ranting. She was like, "Nice to see you. I have heard a lot about you two. But seeing you in person is even better." She then asked them if they knew her. She told them that she is Seryung, the leader of the S-Devils, the Blazing Devil. But there was no response from either Elena or Sungbom. It's as if they weren't interested in her bullshit. At the same time, Hwarin held Mokjin's hand, looking all scared, but Mokjin told her there is no need to be nervous since he is with her. Hwarin then said to him, "The woman Elena is not human, but rather she is a fighting ghost. Ever since she was young, she's been traveling the world looking for opponents, but no one has survived meeting her. She even built a spaceship as a fighting arena, just to travel and fight." Mokjin was impressed at such a remarkable child, because a young one dedicating their heart and soul to martial training is indeed a rare talent. At the same time, Seryung was telling them that whatever the case may be, they should talk peacefully as fellow Central Plain people, but Elena told her that she only talk with her sword. She then sent a flying sword energy towards Seryung. There was an impact, but for a moment there, no one knew if she was hit or not because of the smoke and air. And after waiting for a moment for the smoke to subside, Seryung jumped back to the ship unarmed. She shouted at Elena for attacking abruptly, since she told her that they should talk, so why the hell is she swinging her weapon out of nowhere? Sungbom was impressed at Seryung, although it wasn't Elena's full power, but it's still not an easy attack to dodge. He said to himself that although she's impressive, however, it would have been better not to dodge, because her opponent, Elena, is a mad scorpion that gets more poisonous the more it's provoked, which would eventually make her death more painful. But what surprised them all the most was seeing Mokjin and Hwarin alive. Hwarin was coughing because of the dust, so Mokjin tapped her back to calm her down. He told her that she shouldn't get scared over such trivial matters, since it's just a childish prank, although the attack looks grand. But it's just a noisy firecracker, so he told her to keep regulating her breathing. At the same time, Sungbom was like, "What the hell just happened?" Judging by the position, Mokjin must have been in the way of the attack, so how the hell is he unscathed? At the same time, Elena began activating her energy for another attack. She decided to thread carefully since Mokjin was quite mysterious. Mokjin then stepped forward, although Seryung told him not to get involved, but he didn't listen. He then said to Elena, "Child, what business do you have here? If you have something to say to Hwarin, you should speak to me instead, because Hwarin is under my protection, so any business with her goes through me." At the same time, Sungbom scanned Mokjin to see his data, but there was no data available on Mokjin, nor did he equip any internal energy drive. And upon seeing that Mokjin has no identification and no internal energy drive equipped, he wondered if Mokjin is a nameless natural from the outskirts. Mokjin then told Elena to leave if she have no business, but suddenly he was attacked, and the collision after impact was intense. Seryung, Sungbom, and Hwarin were also surprised at the sudden attack. For a moment, no one knew what happened. All they could see were two kinds of energy clashing together, but to their surprise, Mokjin blocked her spear attack with just one hand, as if she is nothing but a roadside fly, so he asked her if the reason why she came was to fight him. At the same time, Sungbom was in shock to see that he deflected the fighting ghost Elena's strike with just a palm. What's more shocking is he did it without internal energy. Mokjin then said to Elena, "There is something odd about you. You utilizing the radiant sword technique of Diankong sect with a staff is one thing, but channeling the Shaolin's great Brahma divine art for internal energy is surprising. Moreover, what surprised him the most is the fact that she's so young but already has internal energy surpassing that of 3 cycles, so he wondered if she experienced a fortunate encounter or something else. Just so you guys know, a cycle is equivalent to 60 years worth of energy. So since she have 3 cycles, she should have 180 years worth of internal energy." Elena then increased her internal energy drive to operate at 90%. Mokjin was quite surprised at the fact that she was able to switch her internal energy to Wudong's Red Sun Divine Art with just her 3 cycles of energy. But surprisingly enough, she didn't stop at that. She increased her internal energy drive to be operating at 95%. Even Sungbom was impressed at how incredible she was, so he wondered if she's always this strong. Mokjin realized that she is going all out, so he decided to get serious a little bit. At the same time, Elena, who was busy increasing her energy, got a warning sound from her ring. Going back to the past when she was about to venture out into the world, her mother told her that she won't stop her if she have made up her mind, although any fight that furthers her training is permitted. But death is not allowed. She told Elena that she is already strong to face the world, because throughout the entire world, there are less than 10 martial artists who can harm her. And even they cannot push her to the brink of death, but she told her to remember one rule. She placed a ring in her hand. She then told her that if the ring sounds, then she must flee no matter what. Because the ringing sound means the opponent is beyond her reach, and if she was to ignore the warning, she'd surely die. At that moment when she looked Mokjin into the eyes, voices in her ears were telling her to run away with her tail between her legs without hesitating. They told her to know her place, to just hide away and live since there is nothing she can do. She remembered being introduced to her siblings by her mother. She told her that although they have different fathers, but they were all born from her womb, and since they share the same blood, she told them that they should stay close to each other. But at that moment when those thoughts were coming into her head, she increased her internal energy drive all the way to 120%. Mokjin was quite surprised, not just him. Everyone on site was surprised at her sudden surge of power. Surprisingly enough, she completely transformed into a more powerful being. Mokjin was impressed at her unheard of talent since she was able to undergo transcendental awakening with just a mere transformation. That was when he realized that years has passed. Same goes for martial arts. But her power is a bit too much for her to handle. Elena then charged forward to attack him. She got close and she swung her staff at him. But he dodged her first strike since it's the chaotic storm sword technique of Ma sect. She used another attack which is the sun and moon twin wheels of the Kunlun sect, but he was still able to dodge it. At the same time, her energy drive increased to 125%. The force from her attack increased, but Mokjin dodged it because he was familiar with all the techniques she was using. And now she is using the sun-piercing spear technique and the falling sunblade technique of the Diankong sect. Seeing that she was still unable to land a hit on him, she increased her energy drive to 140%. This time around, her energy transformed into a blazing storm, sending out multiple attacks. And it's the technique called the dog-beating stick technique, and the drunken 8 immortals step of the beggar sect, and the 4,000 red needles of the esoteric sect. After all her attacks combo and combination of different techniques, he was still able to dodge her attack with no stress at all, as if he was toying with her, and now she increased her energy drive to 170%. But Mokjin wasn't interested to play with her anymore. He then unleashed an attack with just a swing of his hand, and bang, there was an explosion from their collision. The area was covered in smoke, and for a moment, no one knew if the battle has ended or not. But to their surprise, she came out unarmed and she undergo another transformation. This time around, it was more like an Asura descent. She then charged forward at full speed, increasing her internal energy drive to be operating at 190%, and as she was about to clash, Mokjin told her through telepathy to stop, although her talent is admirable. But she have crossed the line of righteousness, since her awakening shows wounds and desires. In addition, she's been consumed by her inner demons. And if she continued to reach any further, he'd have no choice but to kill her to stop her, since he promised to protect Huarin. So he won't let her harm her. And so he activated his energy on his hand, summoning a very long sword. At the same time, Seryung and Sungbom were shocked to see that he summoned a heart sword. Elena didn't reduce her speed at all since she have made up her mind to fight until either one of them is dead, that is to say, a life and death duel. But since she didn't stop her attack, Mokjin swung his heart sword at her. The light from their attack was blinding, and bang, the ship they were on exploded due to how terrifying the force from their attack was, a force that is more powerful than a photon cannon. The Greenwood ship operator couldn't believe his eyes. He was shocked at the sudden explosion. Sungbom then teleported back to his ship at his initial teleportation spot. But he was heavily injured, and he barely escaped with his life since he was on the ship when it exploded. He stood up. He told the driver not to worry about him because he is still alive, but if the teleport has been even 0.1 seconds late, he'd have been torn to pieces. At the same time, on the exploded ship debris, Seryung asked Mokjin if he's insane since he almost killed them all. She told him that he should have some restraint because even in the past, no one in their right mind would set their ship on fire just because they're angry. But Mokjin told her while bleeding through his mouth that restraint wasn't an option. She stood up, and she was surprised to see that he was hurt. Mokjin told her that the reason why he is hurt was because he faced a power more stronger than he anticipated. They both looked up at Elena's floating body, with her scattered shield and broken equipments. Seryung then asked Mokjin if she's dead. He replied no, she is not dead yet. A stronger force protected her. The person who protected her was so beautiful, as if an angel just came down from heaven. Seryung was surprised to see her because she is the West Heaven Sword Matron, and she is Sungbom and Elena mother. Some hours later, Elena was placed in liquid for her to heal. At the same time, Mokjin and the rest were behind her, while Sungbom was on his knees showing his respect to his mother. Sungbom politely told her that he didn't know she would be coming, so she should punish him for his lack of loyalty and filial piety, but she told him that his opinion isn't needed at the moment, so he should act as if he aren't here. She then politely greeted Mokjin. She told him that she is West Heaven Sword Matron. Sungbom was surprised to see that his mother is showing respect. Not just him. Even Seryung couldn't believe that the West Heaven Sword Matron is showing courtesy. The matron told Mokjin that she violated the dueling code of martial arts by rudely intervening, since she was driven by familial affection. She then told him that if he wished, she would cut off her arm as an apology. But Mokjin told her that there is no need for her arm. He then asked her if Elena is her daughter, but Seryung immediately told him to speak respectfully since she is the West Heaven Sword Matron. Matron replied yes, she is her daughter. If that's the case, Mokjin told her that she intervening wasn't a bad choice because family takes precedence over the dueling code. Seryung told him again to please speak politely, because the woman is one of the 5 immortals, the West Heaven Sword Matron. Her temper is so bad, and she can split someone in two just by glaring, but to her surprise, the matron went on her knees to beg for forgiveness. Some unknown hours later outside the ship, Matron told Mokjin that she does not know the exact reason why her daughter's consciousness has yet recovered. In addition, it was also confirmed that the place she passed through right before she came to fight him was Mount Hua. She was likely to have been commissioned there to attack the S-Devil's ship. However, she told Mokjin that the martial arts that he demonstrated earlier seemed to be the Demon Heart Sura sword technique, so she asked him if he have any relation to the Heavenly Demon sect. Mokjin replied, I don't know. In the past, there was definitely a deep connection, but time has passed. Time corrodes even the strongest bond as if they were iron, and dissolves connections dearer than life itself. Matron looked him without saying anything. She said to herself that indeed Mokjin is an extraordinary figure, both chi and internal energy. Even martial arts are all perfectly refined. And there's not even a trace of artificiality. Such state is only achievable during the peak period of martial arts. What's surprising is that he appears to be in his early 20s. So she thought maybe it could be as a result of rejuvenation. She then said, May I dare request something from you? Mokjin replied, Are you proposing a serious fight? Matron was surprised at his accurate deduction. He added, Though you are being polite, but every word you say is dripping with murderous intent, like a sword being sharpened against a flint, getting sharper and sharper. She told him that he have a sharp ears to have catch her small whispers. Mokjin then told her that he have never refused a challenge, but she should know that if they fight, one of them is bound to die. And the one left standing would be severely injured. Something too strong has no room to bend, or else it will break. Matron immediately unleashed her energy for them to fight, since he had figured out her intentions. Mokjin then asked her if they have any compelling reason to fight. His question came as a surprise to her. Mokjin then told her that they should fight if they have a reason in the future, since he still want to see more of the world. Matron was unable to say anything. She then retracted her energy, and so the S-Devil ship left the premises. Some unknown hours later, Sungbom told the matron that he got a request from the Heavenly Demon sect to destroy the S-Devil ship, and it was a silencing kill. The matron couldn't understand why the commander of the heavenly demon sect want to kill Mokjin despite the fact that he clearly possessed the supreme martial arts of the heavenly demon sect. Additionally, why would they hire Greenwood? It really doesn't make sense. Sungbom then told her that there have been recent information that the Heavenly Demon's Red Wolf platoon was annihilated by an unknown entity. Maybe they might be related, but Matron told him that there is no need to overthink. Because whatever the situation may be, his imagination won't be able to deduce it. She told him that she hoped he can at least prove how useful he is by thoroughly tracking the S-Devil's ship movement and report. Sungbom told her not to worry since the people from Greenwood pride themselves as the best in the world at tracking. She looked at him without saying anything for a moment. She then told him that she would trust him. But he should track them without interfering since she do not want her child to get hurt. Sungbom was touched by her sweet words, but she stopped, and she was like, "Ah, by the way, what's your name again? How the hell can you not know your child's name?" Back at the S-Devil's ship, Young furiously asked Hua Rin what mess have she gotten herself into. What did she do that got her involved with Greenwood, or 8-foot fighting ghost Elena? And on top of that, she got West Heaven Matron involved. She was like, what the hell did you do? Or did you flip the world around? Some minutes later, after things have finally calmed down, they sat round a table. Hua Rin apologized for causing them trouble. She told them that she honestly don't know why they're all after her. Everything became different when she returned to Mount Hua, her hometown, after finishing her tour. Clearly the people in her hometown were still the same people, but everyone was trying to kill her, so she ran all the way to the S-Devil ship. At the same time, Mokjin was furiously munching the snacks. Young asked Sunja if she understands what Hua Rin is saying, since she don't have a clue about what she is saying, but Sunja also find it difficult to understand her. Suddenly, Robert hit the table with force. He said to Hua Rin, "Did you just say Mount Hua? Do you mean the Mount Hua planet? My hometown Mount Hua?" So he told her to immediately tell him what happened to Mount Hua, but Hua Rin could no longer hold in her disgust because of how Mokjin is eating. So she ended up throwing up. At the same time, at the room where Elena was being treated, Elena broke out from the tube after waking up and she was coughing trying to catch her breath. Matron then asked Elena to tell her what happened on Mount Hua. At the same time in the Wild Crane Inn, Wang saw the video of Mokjin and Elena's battle. They were all surprised at such an intense battle. He then remembered Young asking him how much would a full collection of 2,000-year-old martial arts manuscripts be worth if they are all original and all S rank. At that moment, he said to himself that if what Young said is true, then they would be making a fortune. At another scene at the Heavenly Demon Sect District 32, Ritak couldn't believe his eyes when he saw Mokjin and Elena's battle clip. He had no idea what the hell is happening. At the same time, someone said to him, "What do you think? Isn't it a familiar martial art?" That someone was no other than the matron. Ritak told her that he acknowledged that it is a level of martial prowess never seen or heard before, but he don't understand why she said that the martial art Mokjin used is familiar. The matron looked at him without saying anything. She said to herself that it seems like he really doesn't know anything about Mokjin. She then said, "Then why did you pursue that person, especially with Greenwood's involvement?" Ritak replied. He told her that it's an internal matter of the sect. Even if she is the sword matron who rules over the West Heaven cosmic code, it's not something she should concern herself with. But suddenly, in just the blink of an eye, Ritak's neck was cut. The cut was so fast that it took some time for him to realize he was cut. Although he was bleeding, but it wasn't a deep cut. He held his neck and he asked her if she is declaring war against the Heavenly Demon Sect. She replied while smiling, "Do you think I of all people would fear bloodshed?" Her words made Ritak remember that she's a woman who devoured her own children because of her obsession with martial arts, and she's not one to act based on profit and loss. Matron activated her sword energy. Such ferocious yet subtle energy is capable of splitting the oceans and cutting mountains. She then told him to answer him or die. "Do you think I of all people would fear bloodshed?" Ritak replied, "Isn't the choice obvious? Even if all 1,076 martial artists of District 32 attack together, there is no way they can surpass the West Heaven Sword Matron." He then activated his own energy to begin battle. He told her that she should hurry up and cut down all 1,076 of the martial artists if she plans on doing so. Matron said to herself that the story about Heavenly Demon Sect getting tougher each passing day seems to be true, She then said, "The technique that the person is using is the Demon Heart Sura sword technique." But Ritak had no idea what she meant by that. She then told him that the heart sword that cut down her daughter was the Demon Heart Sura sword technique, which is second in the heavenly demon sect's martial hierarchy. But Ritak told her loudly that it's impossible for that to be the Demon Heart Sura, because the Demon Heart Sura sword technique has been a lost martial art for thousands of years. It exists only in legends, and no one in their sect have ever practiced it. She told him that it's not her problem if his knowledge is lacking, but she have told him what she know. She then decided to ask him again for the reason why he sent a kill order for Mokjin. Ritak was speechless for a moment. He then told her that he wasn't chasing after Mokjin, but he was after the girl Huarin. Some hours later, at the Talavitra orbiting star system, the S-Devil ship arrived at Mount Hua planet. They scanned through Huahum County with their surveillance camera, but it's surprising that it looks completely empty. Seryung asked them for the reason why it's empty, or is it maybe in holiday, but Robert told her that might not be the case because all the store doors are open, Sunya added. She told them that the town has over 10,000 inhabitants, but there's no signs of life at all. Robert was anxiously shaking Seryung. He told her that they should go down quickly since he is sure something terrifying must have happened, and everyone either died or fled. She then asked him why the hell is he agitated all of a sudden. He replied, "Because it's his hometown." At the same time Huarin was crying while looking at Mount Hua. Mokjin then told her to speak up if she knows anything. But as she was about to speak, Sunya told them that she have detected a life signal. Judging by the location, it's inside Mount Hua's main headquarters, in the Jaha Pavilion. Seryung was surprised when she heard Jaha Pavilion, since it's the place where the leader of the Mount Hua sect resides. Sunya told them that although it's just one person, but the person has a very strong life signal. It seems like Huarin knew something, but she isn't saying it. And so they all went to Jaha Pavilion. The pavilion was covered in fog and only some part were visible. At the same time Seryung asked Robert why he suited up that way. He told her that he came to fight whoever it is that dares to mess with his homeland. Seryung asked him if his suit is still functional since he stashed it away in the warehouse as soon as he got discharged. She even thought he have already sold it off. But he told her that he would always be a special forces soldier, even if he have retired. Seryung then asked Sunja if she's still detecting a signal. Sunja replied, yes. However, the life signal is getting stronger. It might not even be human, so she told her to be careful. Seryung then told Sunya that they should first deploy reconnaissance drone, since they need to identify what it is, but upon hearing that the thing inside there aren't human, Robert ran in at full speed in order to kill the monster. Seryung didn't stop him. Rather, they decided to be on alert and follow him. They walked for a while, but suddenly, within the tunnel, a huge outburst of fire energy was shot at them. On a normal setting, such firepower would have taken their lives, but Mokjin was fast enough to save them. Seryung had no idea what the hell was that, but what surprised her the most was how Mokjin threw her to the ground, and so they went to the place where Robert was. Robert was covered in smoke because he also blocked the fire that was shot at him earlier. Seryung had no idea if he is dead or alive since he wasn't moving. She then asked Sunja if he is dead. Sunja replied, no, he's fine. Luckily, the combat armor did its job, and the reason why he aren't answering is because he's probably just scared out of his mind. Mokjin stood alone while looking up. There was something like blossoming flowers that suddenly filled the room, and in front of him is a man exuding a very terrifying amount of energy. But Mokjin stood still without saying anything. Seryung then asked Sunja if the man is the source of the lifeform signal. Sunja replied yes, if the data is correct. The man is the leader of Mount Hua, popularly known as the Flourishing Blossom Sword Sovereign, Yongjuk-san. Mokjin touched the flower. He told them that the fact that the plum blossoms open from the heat means he have achieved the peak of the plum blossom heavenly fragrance heart technique. But he have no idea why the plum blossoms bloomed in purple. He then deduced that the plum blossom heavenly fragrance technique has mixed with the purple mist divine art. If that's the case, then things aren't looking good. From now on, as a means of reference, we would be calling the leader of Mount Hua by his name Joksan. Seryung asked Mokjin, what is the problem with Joksan, and why is he in such a state? Mokjin replied. He told her that the plum blossom heavenly fragrance heart technique embodies extreme yang, while the purple mist divine art embodies extreme yin. Thus, even the elders of Mount Hua can only choose one to master. He was like, if extreme yang is fire and extreme yin is water, what happens if they mix? So he told her that when a martial artist's desires surpasses their limits, a demon takes root in their heart. While talking, he activated his energy in his hand to prepare for combat. He told Seryung that the person sitting over there is no longer human, so she should take the others and flee because the fight won't be an easy one. Even him can't guarantee their safety. But Hua Rin didn't listen. She immediately ran towards her dad, although Seryung tried stopping her, but it was already too late for that. At the same time, Mokjin activated his energy to prepare for the worst. Sunya was also watching what was going on, and she was sure that it was dangerous, but as soon as the timer reached 18 hours. Not like I know what that means though, she hugged him tightly. No one knew what was going on because as soon as she hugged him, everything changed. Juksan even hugged her back in return. Seryung was like, what the hell is going on? Sunya told her through the speaker that the world has returned to normal, but Seryung had no idea what she was talking about. So Sunya told her again that things have returned to normal since she can now see people on the street, and the people who disappeared have appeared all at once. Some hours later in a particular shop, Robert, Sunya, and Seryung were on a table. Seryung was looking around. She then said to Sunya, you said there were no people in Mount Hua. Then why are we seeing people now, or was the bioscanner malfunctioning? Sunya replied while drinking, don't you remember both of us checking it together? The scanner was normal, even now it's normal, but something is off. The people here, all their internal energy is completely drained. Everyone, both children and adults alike. Robert told them not to worry too much about them since they are all alive, so there is nothing to worry about. He then decided to order some food since he is getting hungry, so he called the server to place an order. The server arrived with tea sets on her hand, so he excitedly told her that he'll have a double serving of noodles and a large special dongpo pork, but to his surprise, the waiter passed him, and she went to serve another people. He was like, what the crazy shit is wrong with her? I was talking to her directly, yet she ignored me, or was she so busy to hear me? He then decided to order again since she is coming back his way, but she ignored him once again. He couldn't believe his eyes. Sunya said to him, it's not that they didn't hear, it's like they can't see us because no one in the restaurant has ever stopped to look at us, even when they're right in front of them. They just pass as if we're part of the scenery. They're not aware of us at all, as if we never existed in the first place. Seryung told them that she doesn't want to get involved with the shit that is going on in Mount Hua, because she have a bad feeling about it. Back at Joksan's residence, Joksan was pouring tea in a cup, looking all dull and slow, but he didn't invite neither Mokjin and Hua Rin. Hua Rin told Mokjin that her father is not someone who would rudely drink tea alone without inviting the guest in front of him. Also, he can't see them because he has been that way since she returned from her tour, but the strange thing is that he does all his work and tasks normally. He drinks tea, goes for inspections, eats meals, and tends to the garden always at the same exact time every day, like a wind-up doll. Mokjin started waving his hands in front of Joksan, but she told him that it's no use since he can't see them. She added, she told Mokjin that he must be careful, and he shouldn't prevent Joksan from following his repetitive routine, but before she could finish her sentence, Mokjin had already took the cup from Joksan's hand. She immediately shouted at Mokjin to get out of the way. Although he never expected Joksan to attack, but before his head could get chopped off, he swiftly dodged it with little to no stress, as if nothing in the world mattered to him, but the attack didn't stop there. Joksan launched multiple sword strikes, but Mokjin wasn't your average Joe. The faster Joksan attack was, the more faster Mokjin becomes. Honestly, this guy's facial expression is quite annoying. As soon as Joksan was about to launch another attack, Mokjin told him to stop since it's dangerous, so he stopped the attack with his palm. The impact from the clash was quite intense. Even Hua Rin could feel the force from their attack despite their distance. Suddenly, there was a reaction from Joksan. Mokjin was like, it's that reaction again, exhibiting both extreme yang and extreme yin together. Hua Rin shouted out. She told him that he should return his teacup to him, if not, he'll rampage even more. While Hua Rin was busy making her noise, Mokjin knelt down. He then said, when surpassing an unreachable limit, the human body cannot withstand it. The principle should be either they fall into inner demons, or their body bursts like a balloon, and they end up shredded to pieces. It should be clearly an impossible realm. And now the Joksan in front of him is human, yet not a human. So Mokjin was wondering, what is the story behind what is happening? Hua-Rin worriedly told him to hurry up and return the cup since it's about to get more dangerous, and as soon as the plum blossom attack was about to explode on Mokjin, Mokjin carried the cup and he threw it with a huge amount of force. The cup passed through the plum blossom flower that seems like it was about to explode, breaking the momentum of the plum blossom, and it went directly to Joksan's hand, and so everything stopped. And things returned to normal as it once was. Joksan then continued his usual pattern. Things dialed down. Hua-Rin was telling Mokjin that after finishing her interstellar tour, she came back home half a month ago, and everything had changed like that. She noticed that the people in the city have turned into wind-up dolls, repeating the same things at the same time, in exactly the same way, and if that repetition is interrupted, they stop. Now, Robert has interrupted one of them because he wanted to ask him what the hell is going on in the city, but to his surprise the person stopped moving. Not just him, everything in the city stopped. And then they all disappeared. Robert was like, what the hell just happened? He then asked Sunya if it was a teleport, but Sunya didn't know either. Sir Young was like, what do you mean you don't know? If you don't know, who else would? Sunya told them that judging by the particle's waveform, it seems like teleportation, but the scale is too large for it to be a teleportation. But suddenly, she told them that all signs of life have disappeared from the entire planet. This wasn't really a good thing. Not that it wasn't really a good thing, it wasn't a good thing at all. Rather, it was the worst-case scenario they could ever expect, because when everyone disappears like that, those things appears. Just like how Hua-Rin have said, the things suddenly appeared. They were like, what the hell is that? Robert told them that he's not sure either what is happening right now, but he think they're in a very dangerous situation. Sir Young was surprised to see those things since they are androids, but she have no idea why they all looked half-finished. Sunya told her that they're not androids, but they're construction droids. They are models created for simple labor like planetary development since they are early model. And they are equipped with low-capacity AI, so their cognitive abilities are limited. Sir Young was like, oh, so they're just construction robots, so she freaked out for nothing. She then told them not to worry because, according to the 3 laws of robotics, droids can never harm a human. But what surprised Robert the most is the fact that the droids are holding swords. Sir Young told him that they're probably using them in place of tools. She then walked toward the droids. She was like, hey, there are people here, so move aside and find another path, stop crowding around and scaring people. But before she could finish her word, one of the droid rushed towards her and struck her with its sword. But she blocked its attack and she wasn't harmed in any way. She lashed out at the droids for attacking a human, but to her surprise, all the droid charged towards her, bombarding her with multiple attacks. The explosion from the collision was intense, and it could be seen all the way from Joksan's residence. Hua-Rin told Mokjin that the droids are the one that shows up once all the people disappear, and then they attack every living thing they see, and now they are hunting down Sir Young and her group relentlessly. Hua-Rin told Mokjin that when she came back after finishing her tour, she was also attacked, but if it hadn't been for her father, she probably wouldn't have survived. For some unknown reason, they never came to the place where her father was, and even if everyone else disappears, her dad remains, but in that dormant state. Mokjin told her that her father is hanging on. He's hanging on by burning his entire internal energy along with his soul, ready to face inner demons if he has to. And it must be because there's something he has to protect no matter what. Mokjin find his act to be quite admirable, so he told her that he'd take care of everything. He then decided to go out and take a look at the face of the scum responsible for the shit that is going on in Mount Hua. At the same time, Sir Young and Robert were surrounded, while Sunya was hiding behind Sir Young. Sir Young had no idea what was going on, nor why the droids are attacking humans, so she asked Sunya if such a thing is possible. Sunya replied. She told Sir Young that such a thing is impossible, because the intelligence systems of androids still cannot violate the 3 laws of robotics, so attacking humans isn't an option for them. Sir Young was like, then why are they all acting like this? Are they malfunctioning? Or maybe they don't see us as humans? At the same time, a thought came to Robert. He was like, this androids are capable of attacking humans. Don't tell me they are combat androids. The droids surrounded them, and they charged forward to attack. Sir Young immediately told Sunja to hold on tight and hide well while she fended off their attacks, But to her surprise, the droids were being shot down, and they all exploded. The person who launched the attack was Robert. He told them that they are not droids, but they are iron gangshi. Just so you guys know, gangshi are reanimated corpses or zombies.